It'll be a very interesting afternoon in the city of brotherly love. That's Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose. I'm Mike Greenberg. We'll get to our game coming up in a moment. But first, let's talk about what happened across the street from where we are sitting last night. Opening tip, strange game. After trailing by 11 points in the second quarter, the Lakers completely flipped the script in Game 3 and beat the Warriors by 30. To take a 2-1 lead in that series. It's tied for the largest win after trailing by at least 10 in the last 25 postseasons. And give it up for Anthony Davis. He had 25 points, but his defense may have made the biggest difference, disrupting passing lanes, 11 deflections, and the Warriors shot just 2 for 10 from the floor when contested by AD. So we asked, and he delivered. So, Stephen A., what did last night's game tell us about this series?
Well, what it told us is that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to send the reigning defending NBA champions home in these playoffs if they don't show up. Los Angeles Lakers are undefeated at home this postseason. You're the Golden State Warriors. They have home court advantage because they stole one from you in San Francisco. You got to win one of these games, preferably Game 4, because I don't think you can come back from a 3-1 deficit against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James hasn't scored 30 points in these games. This is an aberration for him, but it doesn't matter. Anthony Davis had 25 and 13. Let's see what he does in Game 4, because in even number games, we know how he perform, and then in the odd number games, it dips precipitously. So we got to take all of those things into consideration. But in the end, as anemic as the Golden State Warriors looked last night, the bottom line is they got to win Game 4. Otherwise, they're on the verge of getting sent home.
This is a pattern. I would call it disturbing, except they played their way out of it twice already. They did it last year in the finals.
Golden State did.
Golden State did.
Yeah.
Down 2-1, Game 4 in Boston, boom. Last week, same thing, right? I mean, they get these situations, but last night was a little maybe more disturbing because they just didn't post. I mean, the defending champion with a non-effort. They committed stupid fouls. They committed lazy turnovers. They just acted disinterested. And this is not November. We're in the middle of the playoffs, and you could see you could hear it in the tone of some of the post-game comments. So I expect, like last year we talked about this in Boston, I expected the champs one-time champs then, to play like champions, and they didn't become champions again. We saw this with Sacramento. We're seeing it again with the Lakers. I think it says less about the opponent than it does about the Warriors, whatever motivates them.
The Warriors lost their composure, in particular for a group that have won 4 championships together. And it showed me that them being terrible on the road in the regular season is going to probably end up leading to them getting bounced in the postseason. Steph Curry saved them in Game 7 and had 50 points. Remember, nobody else really showed up except Looney showed up on the boards. And the word foul kind of just stood out to me. Personal fouls, defensive 3-second fouls, flagrant fouls, technical fouls. And a team that normally finds its way to play with an 11-point lead and expand on it, loses it by halftime when LeBron had 0 points in the first quarter and ultimately ended up losing by 30.
Strategically, where is the edge now? What can the Warriors do to reclaim this and put themselves back in the series?
You got to get Klay some opportunities for catch and shoot. Like, he's one of the best of all time doing that, but the Lakers forced him off the 3. He had 6 turnovers, the most he's ever had in a playoff game. And also, you got to get Anthony Davis working on defense. In particular, your bigs got to be productive. Draymond got to stay in the game. Looney got to be productive. Green got to knock down shots.
There's one other thing, though. Jordan Poole does get paid. I mean, last time I checked, he does actually receive a check, okay? He receives a check. He has a uniform. He's allowed to travel with the team. They're in the same hotel. Last time we checked, he was on this roster. Where the hell was he? I mean, the fact of the matter is that, with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, knowing the pressure that's on them and the load that they have to carry, one of the reasons you were comfortable giving Jordan Poole $140 million in the offseason is because you said, you know what? This brother can play, and he is the perfect dude to spell for them when we take them out. That hasn't been the case for the most part throughout these playoffs. He's been a disappointment. He's had moments here and there, but overall, he's been a disappointment. He's got to show up, too.
That's fair. He had 5 points last night. Meanwhile, let's bring the same energy, if we feel like it, to praising Anthony Davis that we brought in questioning him. Everyone in the world had a spotlight on him last night as they came home. That felt like a very big night for Anthony Davis.
It was.
He rose up on both ends of the floor.
It was, and he did. But I don't know that it forecasts anything. I mean, this is the pattern. Again, we talk about patterns. I'm talking about Golden State and being critical of them for falling into this and just taking a game off during a series. I don't think Anthony Davis is taking it. The difference where I am less critical is I think Anthony Davis is giving us what he can give. Is it what people want to see? Does it measure up to this fraudulent billing of top 5 player in the league? No, it doesn't. But this is what he can give. And he's not going to be great every night. And he may not be great in Game 4. He was great in Game 3. He was the best player on the floor in Game 3.
Yes.
It does not forecast what is going to happen going forward.
Yeah, it doesn't forecast it, Mike. Come on, bro. I mean, the man is averaging 27 and 17 on 55% one game, and then the next game is 13 and 10.
That's who he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, that's not
he got
true.
years of it.
That's not. No, he hasn't had years of it. He has not. No. Not that kind of precipitous
Since
drop
the
off.
bubble.
The next game.
Since the bubble.
Not that type of the precipitous drop off the next game. If the man set up there and averaged 27 and 17, and then, okay, I'm going to hit 20 and 20 points and 13 rebounds, I'd be different. But that kind of flagrant drop off, no. Anthony Davis, just like I told his peeps last night, he could do better than that.
But that's why averages are deceiving. Because you can go for 40 and 10 and it averages 30.
I agree.
Okay,
but what I'm saying
25.
is he hasn't had that kind of drop off from game to game, though.
But you know, one of the things about AD also, a lot of times he ultimately gets injured, so he isn't playing 20 to 25 consecutive games.
Right.
Now, since he's playing consecutive games, you get a chance to see the peaks and valleys.
But that's the question. Should the valleys be that low?
I don't know about
Michael?
should. Let's deal with what is. They are. We can sit here and decide what he ought to do. To hell with that.
Okay.
What are we getting from him? What is going to happen from game to game with Anthony Davis? You're going to get variation.
Okay.
Period.
Okay,
Facts.
that's fine. Well, to answer your question,
Yeah.
you talked about giving Anthony Davis praise. Are we ready to do that? Hell no. You know why? Come to me after Game 4. We knew what he was going to do last night because he stunk up the joint in Game 2. So we knew he was going to show up in Game 3. Now let's see what you're going to do in Game 4. Give me the second game. The second game, not necessarily back-to-back is in one day and then 24 hours later. No, you got a day off in between. Then you play Monday night. What did you do in Game 3? Can you do that in Game 4? Because the numbers show us that because of what you did in Game 3, Anthony Davis is going to stink up the joint Monday night. I'm saying no, I don't expect that from him. He is a great player. Yeah. I expect him to be better. He doesn't have to drop 25 and 13, but he don't have to stink up the joint.
But he also can give you back-to-back 20-point games, as you pointed out.
That's right.
Multiple players have done so in this postseason. He hasn't been one.
37 different players, Greeny, have had back-to-back 20-point games or more.
But he
is not one of them.
And so what is more important in that equation? What other players are doing or what Anthony Davis shows you?
Or what he should do. Or what he should show us.
He needs to do it 4 times over the course of this series. So far, he's done it twice. We'll see what they